We should be live. We should. Oh, we're already. I see the chat. Todd jumped in early. Josh said hi. Who did he murder? The TV producer. Good afternoon, Glenn. Chad Ollinger has been arraigned in court in Las Vegas. He was in jail for some other thing. He was supposed to be released in 2 weeks. And they found his cellmate unconscious. He's the guy from Blind Frog Ranch. Everybody let me know this is going through because we started to kind of, you notice the new intro and new setup. Make sure I'm being heard loud and clear. Hey, Ed. And then they found the person had suffered blunt force trauma. They could not revive him. And Chad Ollinger went to court. And this was reported by TMZ and a bunch of places. He claimed in court he has supernatural abilities and that he, for whatever this is, was able to understand. Hey, Steve. And he said the person he was cellmates with had, hey, everybody, was a pedophile. So he climbed up on him while his cellmate was sleeping and then strangled him till he was unconscious. He was still asleep, and then he pulled him down, and then he took in, repeatedly smashed his head into the frame of the bed until he was dead. And he said he had no regrets, but he's able to tell that because of his supernatural abilities. And the judge ordered a mental evaluation of Chad Ollinger. That was a couple days ago. Well, was the guy even a pedophile? We don't know. Chad says he was because he was in his bunk and he had supernatural ability to do that. He says he has that ability, and he's the kind of person that takes care of business. I don't know. I hate to be laughing, but the whole thing sounds like such a joke, except it's actually so he's totally lost it then. Well, I have no idea. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. And I have a feeling they're going to really try to, because they filmed the next season already, that they're going to really try to downplay this or hope to keep it and not address it. But yeah, he did. Well, he'd been in jail for a while, so who knows what he was going through. But anyways, people are saying we need to wait for the facts, but the facts were he was arraigned. He claimed he has supernatural abilities. He choked the guy out, slammed his head in the thing. The guy was conscious, never talked. And then Chad was sent for a mental evaluation at this time. I don't know. It's crazy as it is. But I will say this. You can go out and there's lectures or talks. Hey. How's it going, Sir Duck? The father, Dwayne, who I think everybody pretty much figures is ill at this point, because he has not been able to physically move, and they kind of played the illness thing on the show a bit, I think, in the last season. But he gives talks where UFOs flown by American citizens who call themselves General so-and-so land at his house and call him on the telephone. So there appears, and that's in Dwayne's own words, so himself speaking about his encounters with I don't know, it's got a name for it. It's all over the internet. But yeah, there's some sort of group that has captured a UFO, a spacecraft, and they fly by his house and call him on the phone. And so that's the father. And You can look up some of those times when Dwayne talks about that. So I don't know what's going on with them. I just think it's a little bit. That's a show that I was asked by Carga 7 if I would be interested in doing. I went, I don't know, I'll do it for this money. And they tried to negotiate with me, and I told them no. And ever since then, I felt like I've dodged a bullet having nothing to do with that show. And I continue to feel. So today, hey Dallas, today I feel kind of like, not vindicated, but I feel like, yeah, I couldn't have put up with that. Some of the stories and things I hear about of a lot of the different people involved. Now, not saying anything about Josh Feldman or his father, Ron, who I'm friends with. And I've not really inquired with them about things concerning it. I know we're going to be involved moving forward with the show, but everyone else talks some pretty wacky stuff, and now this just makes me feel okay. They're clairvoyant and this, and then they murder people, and I don't know what's going on. So I can only tell you what was reported and released and was on the news and on the internet, and I saw the TMZ report, and I was just kind of like, wow. So I do not know what Discovery's going to do with that. I can't. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Good man, because I avoided that disaster. The changing the name, true. Ott tells us players trying to get all I don't know. They should have just went with you. Well, they pitched a show about they were drilling for gold, which is what the original show kind of started at. They were drilling that site by the pond, and they came up with some gold on the drill bits. And I said, I don't see where I fit into this show. They were looking for me because I had a bit of name recognition. So they wanted to get someone cast that had name recognition. I told them I would do it for X amount of episodes, because even if it was stupid, which I knew it was going to be with what they pitched me, because it was going to be about UFOs and ghosts and other things, and I was like, that's not me. But it would pay for my kids' college. I had 3 kids in college at that point. So I thought, it'll pay for their college if you pay me this much. So I'll do it, because I could always say, it paid for my kids' college, regardless of what you think. They came back and tried to negotiate, and I said, nah, I said, I know too much. Best of luck to you. I gave them the name of Terry Carter and Eric DeLille. Said, contact Terry, because he lives up in Utah in that area, and then DeLille, who's in Northern California, Nevada area. I said, they might be interested. And they called DeLille, but he didn't take the call. I don't know why. And then they went with the other guy from Ice Cold Gold, Eric. And that's what they were looking for, someone with a bit of name recognition. And they'd worked with me on Unexplained, Unexplored. That was the main reason they contacted me. They just worked with me on Unexplained, Unexplored. And they called me as soon as we finished filming and said, we have this other show we're green lighting. We'd like you to be a part of it. So that was, but my involvement was very short and sweet, because it was a series of phone calls, which they gave me a lot of information of what they were looking to do, and they kept always adding, well, and we're going to do about, we're going to have the subject matter of Native American legends and that type of stuff in the area. Oh, and then they weren't telling me where it was, and then finally I said, oh, you're talking, it's up by Skinwalker Ranch. You're doing like a Skinwalker Ranch version for Discovery. And they were like, well, and I said, well, just tell me, be honest with me. And they were like, kinda. And then they started saying, well, how are you? Are you really skeptical about, UFOs and this and that? And I said, yeah, but they still thought I was perfect, because they thought they wanted an angle of someone like that who would be kind of the skeptic. And it didn't happen. And then when it showed up, I went, oh crap, I'm glad I missed that one because I would not have seen this coming because I thought the show was just complete fabrication. And I know people that know Dwayne Ollinger, know him from before. I don't know anybody that they say they're close to Chad, and I was like, well, I wouldn't have been the guy for that at all with the people involved. So there you go. Superstitions aren't that big. You don't want that golden. Well, it's not the Superstitions. That show was Blind Frog Ranch. It's up in Utah, in the Uintah Basin. They should have just went with it did well for Discovery. The problem was it was a fabrication show. So Chad had like psychic abilities. He could see things without having to be told. Why just take him straight to the... Well, it has nothing to do with Superstitions. This is the Uintah Basin up by Skinwalker Ranch. I'm sure they reserve the right to cancel it. I'm sure. Find that gold. Okay. In fact, if you brought them all home and got them... It may save you some time and money. Terry Connor's too. I don't think Terry wants to be on TV. So I think Terry never confirmed whether they called him, and he turned it down. I let Terry know. I said, hey, I gave your name to these guys in case, because I figure it's closer to home. Terry has a full-time job, so that's another problem gets in the way of being able to take the time to do the shows. TV producers can take a hike. Everything TV is garbage. In search of with Wayne Tuttle. See, there was a show pitched similar to that, a treasure hunting show, kind of in search of treasure thing, and they pitched to me as a host, and I never heard back from them. It never got off the ground. It's never been aired, but there was a show where I could travel, and I kind of saw myself where, if you pitch it right, I might be interested in this one, and I talked to them quite a bit. I can't remember who that was. I'd have to go through my phone. I love Terry Carter. I'm sure somebody has some gold because of his stories. So, and yeah, I just was looking for someone in the area that would fit the show, and Terry wasn't interested in doing that, but he knows Dwayne Ollinger and those guys. We had to go meet Terry Carter when he was in Denver. Great meet. Terry's a great guy. Terry's a very cool dude. We have really great conversations. For me, being there's no UFOs, Bigfoot, vampires, werewolves, Loch Ness Monster, aliens, ghosts, me being that guy, science guy, and Terry for his channel and what he does, we're still friends, and we don't talk about that stuff because my usual thing is, come on, Terry. But no, we're friends and we get along great. But we're very different in our openness to those types of things. So, but Terry is an awesome dude. I've done interviews with him before, which people have seen, and we remain friends. And he remains in my phone, and we talk. He always picks up my call. If I called him right now, he'd pick up the phone. So, Terry's an awesome dude. They should have you do a remake of Arthur C. Clarke Mysterious. Well, and they pitch shows like that, but it's. There's so much content they're trying to put out because now there's not only cable and network television, but there's streaming, so they're always pitching stuff, and I want to do something at this point that I'm like, this is cool, I could do that, and if someone pitches the right thing and I'm interested in it and it allows me to be myself to some degree, yeah, I'm for it, but I don't want to do stuff that I have to fake it completely. Like, oh, okay, I'll pretend to do this. When I did, I can't remember their names now. Is it Overnight? And I did their ghost video. I played centrist to it. I didn't play it like I was into the stuff or believed the stuff or... they edited it because there's things we talked about that I brought up and questioned, but and I could say a lot of things about what happened, but they allowed me to be who I am, and that worked out very well. So I did that with them. I don't want to sit there. If someone wants to believe in something and it doesn't hurt someone else, I don't care. Because you have the right to watch the video, click the video off. You don't have to stay with it. So whether it's my thing or someone else's thing, you can say, oh, well, I'm not interested in that. Or I find him boring. Or, well, he's the shit because he doesn't believe that, lizards can fly and have butterfly wings. I don't really care, but I have the freedom here just to be who I am. And I will talk to people, and I've told stories of things I'm not very sure about, but I mention that, and I'm in this situation, I'm able to say I'm not very sure about this story, and I have problems with it. Doing television, they don't want that generally, and there's a word that yes, they definitely don't want on integrity. They don't want that integrity. And I don't want to do that. So I want to kind of be who I am. And if you want to edit some of it because it's too, that probably will be fine. I've seen Sasquatch, okay? You just don't get out of the house enough. Probably all whiskeyed up sundown, aren't you? No, not really, but okay. I did tell the story of the Mogiana monster thing, which I don't know what I saw, but it looked nothing like a Sasquatch. See, this is the thing, though. People, I will say that I sit where I'll believe it when I see it, when I get some sort of physical proof, I witness it, I see something that makes me feel that way. I have a library of stuff, and people who are into stuff like that are unbelievable. I have a first edition original hardback of Chariots of the Gods. I know it's absolutely a bullshit book, and it was made up stuff, and it was proven that in court, but it still lives on because generation to generation it renews itself. You last long enough, you come back. So, I don't have a foot in either side. I'm not trying to say this doesn't exist. I'm not trying to say this does exist or doesn't exist. I sit in the middle and say, and I look at it. And I look at it analytically, clearly. That's different because if someone says, I believe in Sasquatch, I've seen one, that's your opinion. That's what you think you saw. And I'm like, I wasn't there. And I listen to the stories. I've talked to people. Terry enjoys talking to people with stories like that. They get a little... I've done a few. Every October, I tell stories, and I've talked to people and brought stories forward of people that talk about this stuff. I believe sometimes people believe what they're telling me. I don't believe it happened the way they said. And that's my right. Okay, he's talking about it running across from Plainview, Texas. Must take patience. Well, I've hunted most of my life. I've not only spent time in the Superstitions, spent time all over the mountains, and I was a hunter, and I don't hunt from a stand, and I don't hunt from the road. So, okay, there you go. To say one thing that I don't get out in the middle of nowhere, no, I do constantly. I was just out yesterday. Yeah, I was yesterday in the rain. Did some walking, and then got soaked, and that's done with. But yeah, I do plenty of walking, and I spend plenty of time in the desert and the mountains, and that is it. Wayne, you walk it like you, talk it, walk it like you, walk it like you. I don't know. I'm almost putting Journey to that. I don't know why. If you've hunted and never became familiar with a mountain, you should know the Sasquatch. Okay. Anyways, we won't get into that because that's just... I just have a very... For a person that's not academically have the credits, I do read and study a lot. And I also work in the electrical utility industry. And I consider myself not stupid. And I look at things with a very open mind. but also an analytical mind and look for the reasons. Because scientifically, you're supposed to be saying, why is it doing this? What could be the possibility? What are the options here? And trying to prove it is or isn't. That is not what a lot of people do. Some people steadfastly say these things don't exist and they don't care and they don't listen. Other people say they do exist and they don't care about any scientific proof or anything that proves out, well, what they're saying. Not to mention that there are a lot of people that lie, a lot of people that make up stuff, and I am not surprised with not just AI now, but things have gotten worse and worse on proof. There was, it's just, you look at the history of things. Anyways, wrap food in aluminum foil so you can turkeys. But what? Now about I switched to lollipops. Okay. Anyways, so I've been in the wild. I've set up game cameras. I've watched game cameras. I've seen bears. I've seen mountain lions. I've seen a lot of things. Seen a lot of things people don't see. Porcupines, things in Arizona that you don't expect. Aggressive quadrumundis, but not Bigfoot. I've seen some pretty smelly, scary people, but they were just regular people that did not have good personal hygiene. So, some glasses so you don't have an excuse to read my comments. You don't have an excuse not to. I try to read them, but you're just trying to basically do what I was saying before. Someone's just going to say, well, I can't have a difference of an opinion. And you've been feeding them the last few years, and I think it's a juvenile, yeah, Rick Gwynn saw a family of Bigfoot at Burn Ranch, and I did a video where I talked to him about it, and I posted it. So you don't understand when you have someone that is willing to be neutral in a subject matter and then go and look at something and then give you their opinion and then what their possible opinion is and what they think those things are. So I've done plenty of stories about plenty of different things and I've put those things out there. Doesn't mean I necessarily believe that's what happened. Hey, Hillbilly Bob, he already retracted what he was saying. Have you been to the spot? No, I didn't. Jason Fritz was just here at the house yesterday. So Jason came by and visited me and we talked and had a long talk. So yes, I just saw Jason yesterday. He's planning a trip and I was invited on this trip if I was able to accommodate the time scheduling. We will see. So now Joshua saying it's not an argument about Sasquatch. This is not a show about Sasquatch. The more you downplayed, I'm not downplayed. I'm just saying let me correct. The Bigfoot people, and the UFO people, and the ghost people, and all those people. See, here's the problem of where nobody understands. If you can't take someone to say, I don't know about that, and then you got to keep pounding it, then that's fine that you believe, but you're not allowing someone else to feel differently about it. And I don't understand that. It's all documented. There's a great book on Bigfoot of why most of the stuff that's fraudulent involving it, and I can't remember it. It's on my bookshelf. I got it some time ago, and I've recommended it to people, and I can't remember the name of it. But it's an excellent book because it shows you a lot of how things got spun. Just recently, they did that Discovery documentary that had the guy that took the girl out and said she was stolen by Bigfoot, but it turns out, I guess in the end, he murdered her, and I think she's buried somewhere. I'm an everything person. I didn't dismiss you, so you're the one that's impolite because you're taking up the space for everyone else, constantly trying to spam it. That's different. That's where it doesn't really work for you. Really hope they exist and hope. Yeah, it's just like Lost Mines or whatever, Of course, I'm trying to change your... You can't change my opinion if I have an educated opinion. You can have amazing experiences. I have not had those. So I'm not going to have those no matter what I am, because I'm going to go out and look at stuff. If you look through our stories that I've always told in October and the experiences people related to me, I've been more than happy to experience or relate those experiences. But I always have a difference of opinion personally, and I don't try to put my personal opinion out there. I don't, there's a problem with where people believe something and then people don't believe something, and I'm just someone that says, I really don't feel that because I just don't think it exists. I don't believe in elves and fairies either. Okay, so, hi Wayne, have you ever encountered mountain lions? I've run into mountain lions twice. One crossed the road in front of me once. Scared the crap out of me. The second one I saw when we were filming Legends was up on the cliffs above us on the Salt River. And since we had a bunch of time and I'm just sitting there, I'm looking up and I saw a silhouette of something crossing, and I saw it. It's very rare to see a mountain lion. So I've seen bobcats. I've seen bobcats a lot, but that's the only two encounters I've ever seen a mountain lion. I've seen the paw prints. I know they exist, so I've seen them, but I've seen a couple. But I've seen the paw prints. Now, bobcats, I've seen them like sitting on people's patios because they're very different in their temperament and so forth. But mountain lions, one crossing a road at Carefree, out by Carefree by Seven Springs, and then the second one was out along the Salt River. And that's the only two times. I've never seen one up close or encountered one on the trail or anything. But I've had them where we were out on a trail and then looping back, and then we saw the scat on rocks and saw the paw prints and realized it was following us. So it was basically stalking us or hanging in the area. But they're very, very cunning like that. And I've always been told you won't see them if they don't want to be seen. So I've never run into one with youngins that would have encountered me like that. There's a bunch of lakes around Denver. They come down. Okay, well, there you go. Your video about Julia Jacob Petrus was very interesting. Thank you very much. Was that just this last one? Yeah, it was the last one I did. I felt bad, and I gotta admit, I was kind of stupid because I couldn't think of a Christmas story, and it turns out that one's the one I should have been able off the top of my head do. And I kind of thought maybe I should do that every year, a variation, always just, I don't like to repeat stories, but that would be a good one always to do in December. You just seem a little uninformed. The monkey on monsters. Okay, we're still in the Bigfoot. Ever been out of the state of Arizona? Yes, I've been all over there. If you said no, I wouldn't be surprised at all. No, I've covered most of the states in the United States and also Mexico. Plenty of family in West Virginia, Ohio, Illinois. I'm from Illinois. I've been all through the Southwest, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Colorado. Had family in Colorado, Utah, Nevada. I don't know. I'm not going to name every state I've been to, but yes, quite a few states and so forth. 6,000 feet. Lady just got killed by a mountain. Yeah, they do get people. What was the story you did on Morristown? You found it. Well, the Morristown story was I was looking for Julia Thomas's grave, and I was getting nowhere. There was someone in the Dutch hunting community that gave me false information, and I realized it was. And so I decided to basically back engineer everything, reverse engineer the story. So I went out that area to find Albert Schaefer's grave, Julia Thomas's second husband. I found his cabin. I found his mining claims. Found the people that were very aware of some of it, not knowing the Dutchman stuff. And then I found his grave and his partner John Begg's graves. And there's actually video of that. If you go to our very first videos, go to the little video thing and then go earliest video, you'll see where I'm out by the cabin. I think I filmed the graves too. So that was my way to try to see if I could find Julia's gravesite, because people had a lot of wrong information. They were just making stuff up, and I was like, nah, we should know kind of where it is. And then if put some money together and put a tombstone on it if we can verify it was. And that was out by Morristown. It was in the Morristown area along the Hassayampa River. So yeah, then those are short videos, but if you go to the earliest videos, you'll find that's some of the earliest things I did. I think I did those before or after the TV show. They might have been before the TV show, because I might have started doing it because they were looking for content to see if I was right. They had already picked me, but they wanted to get, like, photos. I had to have photos and different things for History Channel, and I might have done those then. That wasn't anything officially they were going to use. It was just some stuff. And I was out at Morristown. I was at a Constellation Camp. Yeah, sorry, I was out in the wilderness and out in the mountains, but yes. Bro, the size, 9 feet, sinking in the mud of 6 inches, and I'm 180 pounds. Go in about a quarter inch. Okay, well, I have size 13s. And they are big feet. I did do the Bigfoot. Everybody sits back and says I did that footprint. I did the bear footprint in Hewitt Canyon. Watch the videos, which I was kind of trying to figure out where that would come. Did you ever get to see that leather Dutchman map? The leather map that I know of, if you're talking the Frank Fish map, that map I know where it's at, and I've gotten to hold that. But I'm trying to catch these because everybody's firing away, and I'm sorry if I'm missing these. I'm already growing on him. You're all right. Well, I'm always all right. I don't give a shit. If I get quiet and silent and you piss me off, you'll know. I don't really. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. I hang out with Salvador Degadillo, man. What are you talking about? Was the other interested? Yeah. Okay, hold on. I'll get to that. I'm trying to catch up, make sure I don't miss any anymore. 6 inches. The shades of Sasquatch. Yeah, that's not. I don't want to be in the 50 Shades of Sasquatch. I can tell I'm already growing on him. Okay. Brother Wayne is not going to believe in Sasquatch, especially. Okay, don't do anything mean to anybody. Mitch Waite was really into Bigfoot. I knew Mitch when he was just into Horse Mesa and doing his newsletters. And then I one day went to see what he was doing because he was trying to get Randy and I to go out and Horse Mesa Fish Creek with him. This is long before the TV show. And then he had a trailer up in was it Heber, somewhere up in there, Payson, Heber, Sholo, but he had a trailer up there with cameras with live feeds, and then anytime a branch hit the trailer and stuff, it was kind of funny. But yeah, people would watch his live feeds for Bigfoot, Mogollon Monster stuff. And I didn't get to talk. I couldn't get a hold of him, and then he died shortly thereafter. But yeah, he went completely away from the Dutchman and his Peralta and Spanish treasure research, and he just went total Bigfoot from what I remember. And I got a bunch of his stuff. I thought he was a pretty cool guy, veteran, good guy. Took his groups up there, but I think he was looking for a new group. And Randy and I were so busy in the mountains, we were trying to find time to spend some time with him. And I don't know if Randy did or not. I didn't get up there. I went up to Horse Mesa and looked at some of the stuff he told me about. But, yeah, then he kind of went a whole different direction. And so, all right. So Mitch was a good dude, though. I liked Mitch. But I didn't know. I just knew he had a channel and he was into the Mogollon Monster Bigfoot stuff. Never talked to him about it. It was all the Dutchman stuff, which he's got the books, and I don't know anything other than that. I got a buddy who lives out there, okay? He said we were going to go play in the wash. Thanks for the info, buddy. That lives out there. Okay, I don't know where we're at. Everybody's jumping around, and we got Duffy or whatever. Okay, I captured Sasquatch on camera. Came home, witnessed it behind my back, and there you go. Mike McChesney said he saw Bigfoot too, peek around a tree at him. Also have size 13. I thought you just said, bro, the size 9 feet. Okay, you didn't say he had 9 feet, okay. His eyes are all right, though. Somebody get this guy some glasses. It's because I'm in a very dim room and I have different monitors and I got lights kind of set up in the background, and it's hard to kind of sort through all this stuff and all, because I can see me. I look good. I can read the Marshall behind me. I always find that funny how some stuff's backwards and some stuff's forward in reflection and cameras and mirrors. But anyways, drink to Bob Ward, please, everyone. Yeah, well, we all need a drink, and I don't know if Bob Ward ever talked about that kind of stuff. Oh, he said there was a guardian angel over Sal. So yes, he saw things. Okay. Hey, Jax, you have a bad breath today. You need to back off from the live. Funny show tonight. Well, we don't try to be funny there, Bobby. We're not always trying to be funny. Let's see. I went and entered as a Volkswagen. I want that emerald. Yeah, well, the climb there is... I don't even know if you can get in that place anymore. I have to get Shoes to tell that story long form because of how they went in and what they had to go through to get back there. And Shoes basically said after he did it once, he was never going to do that again. That was the dumbest thing. And Shoes, we all do dumb stuff. But yeah, Shoes said he felt they were lucky they came out of there alive. And Sal's never went back, so as crazy as he is. He has a few bit. He was up on the show. Oh, you're talking about Mitch again? It's up in the show, Low Heber. Yeah, I know where he was because he had that trailer with the cameras on him. But like I said, don't worry, you look handsome with glasses. Yeah, we talked to him about the Horse Mesa stuff and a lot of the stuff that's in his books, and then he just kind of like completely stopped and then went the other direction. See, I can read. Bob Ward break. Is that as like a mental break or a psychological break, or what kind of break are you talking? See, you intend to... Oh, you're coming out, Bobby. Okay, cool. I hear that you're coming, but then it doesn't happen. So you're more than welcome to come back to Arizona, my friend. It seems like too many dark days have followed you elsewhere. Anyhow, yeah, been out, and then of course this is the season, so I'll be out in the mountains and all things superstitions for the next couple of months, at least 2-3 months, probably more regularly than I should be. So kind of going that round. Do you have a channel or something with your videos of Sasquatch? If you say you have evidence, I would love to see it. Seriously, there you go. Probably like a 10-minute break, 10-minute Bob Ward break. I don't know. How far do I have to sit back to not need glasses? That wasn't a Bob Ward drink. That was a Wayne drink. I don't know why everybody always wants it. Everyone here that has been to the rendezvous with me, and you've seen Trevor drink, it's very rare you ever see me take a drink. I never understand why people always think I drink. I find it odd, actually, quite often. I do like bourbon. I do like whiskey. I am actually right now starting to work and adjust to brandy because it's just blowing my mind that brandy is wine, but it really tastes like whiskey. So I think that's just awesome. I don't know if you get drunk on it, though. Well, I'm sure you would if you drank enough. I also post on other channels with my Bigfoot evidence, but this is the original one from the... Okay, I don't know. Did he post a link or anything? No. Got any interesting stories of the Mineral Mountains? Not off the top of my head, sorry. That was a single ice cube drink. What was a single ice cube drink? I don't even know what you're talking about there. This has got a lot of ice cubes. I like the crushed ice. Harry and the Hendersons is pretty funny. Okay. We can't get out of that, can we? We can see that liver poking out of your shirt. See, now that's like stupid because I don't drink very much and I rarely drink. So you say that, and well, you're probably, one of those guys that doesn't get out and really doesn't do anything and claims you're all this. And we got to make sure we get you out of the mountains. So they say over 600 people have filed or gone missing in the supermarket. Well, there you go. That's got to be up there with Everest in the supermarket. I'm just going to get ice cream. Okay. Glenn, you should have left it alone because it was too good not to be true. They would have put that on History's Greatest Mysteries with Lawrence Fishburne. Today in a Fry's supermarket. That's why I assume you were a whiskey drinker, though. Of what? My liver? This is, I don't know, what's poking out of here is the best in the world. That's right. The voice of the voiceless. Maybe you need to get glasses and be able to check that, huh? Because you don't know who that is. Bobby should. He's the second city savior, the second city saint. Anyhow, there we go. Oh, hey, I'm from Illinois. You gotta support the boys back home. Call Jason's going back up the mountain. Supermarket missing 411. Yeah, well, I thought that whole thing was funny. There's probably a channel devoted to that, people missing in the supermarket. Or there will be now. So, there we go. The real window comes out. You get the real one every day of the night, the week. There ain't no. That's unfortunate. That's one of the problems in life is you just get the real me 24/7. And you know what? You can't handle the truth. I think I'm supposed to say the truth. You can't handle the truth. Well, anyways. So there we are. But it's been an interesting week. Spent time with Greg Davis. Went through a bunch of stuff. Got a bunch of papers. Very flippant about that because it's things that you find the secrets. Not the secrets of where the mine is, but other things. And sometimes disturbing things about people going through archives. But spent time with Greg, talking with Larry and McChesney, and different people on the phone. Old Jason is... Well, Jason's not that old. He's younger than me. Oh, my God. He's younger than me. He's got some gray in his beard. My beard's all gray. So he's not that old. Jason's got to be in his 40s. Yeah, so... Like I said, he came by, visited. Thank you, Jason. And it was a good talk, good time. He gets, his share of smart Alex and people shouldn't give people such a hard time sometimes, especially when it's not the fun-loving, good-natured, fun, kind of good time. It's when they give people a really hard time to really poke the bear and try to get them going. He's such a good-natured guy. He's a really nice guy. I think a little bit sensitive sometimes, but he's a really nice guy and just wants to believe in what he believes in and is not trying to convince anyone else, but trying to find proof to see if he is onto what he thinks he's onto. So I think he's a really nice guy. I don't have a problem, And he swung by and we talked. And there you go. So yes, he will be going back in the mountains. He has a trip planned. I don't know if I can make it, but I've been invited. I told him to document it. I told him he should, even with some of the footage and stuff from phones and stuff he has, start addressing it and do something on YouTube. And everybody should be supportive. So there you go. I mean, there's other guys that have done it, so why can't he? And it's not like he makes any I wouldn't say outlandish claims. Well, how would I put it? But it's, at the rendezvous, he basically did state, this is what I believe. I'm hoping to bring the evidence here to prove this to you. Which is I thought fair enough, a good thing. My dad has a small copper still, and we make moonshine. We had moonshine for Christmas. Was was sometimes the last time we made any alcohol. Made brandy wine from grapes. This was apple moon juice. Who gave us the apple moon juice? Trevor's not here, and he could remind me. Someone gave us apple moon. Oh, it was someone from my wife's work. Never mind. And they gave us apple moon juice, and the stuff smells like applesauce. I'm not a big applesauce guy. I like apples. I really like apples. And we used to make hard cider. And when I was a kid, my dad taught me how to make hard cider and stuff. That was basically that. But yeah, it was apple moonshine. There's a jar of it in the kitchen. And I sniffed it. I was like, nah. Then Trevor had apple Jack Daniels. I sniffed that. And it smells like apples everywhere. And then, what was the other thing they were drinking? They made some other drink. It smelled like peach cobbler or something. I was like, I don't want fruit, you know. If I want to drink some alcohol, I want to drink. Can't remember what else they had. They were mixing drinks for New Year's and stuff. And New Year's I think it was New Year's I had 2 fingers of brandy. That was it. So that was my New Year's. And I think it was New Year's I did that. I grow weed. Well, that's legal now, isn't it? I can't smoke weed because my job won't let me. So, yeah, I'm forbidden. So, I like my job. So I can't do that stuff. I can't sit up and drink at night and have any alcohol in my system because that's it. I pickle eggs. Oh, that was actually pretty good. Goes right along with, growing weed, pickling eggs. Yeah, I see it. Anyway, this show's just rolling right along. I don't think we've accomplished jack shit today as far as the Dutchman. People liked the Jacob Waltz, Reinhard, Julia story of them having the picnic. I've confirmed that. And again, I've been doing a lot of research and stuff. There's stories that I think people would really love to hear. I think people would be shocked. They're not conspiracy theories. They're going to be just flat out stories that they're like, how the hell did nobody know this? But I'm kind of like sitting there with that stuff. Right now the research is this stuff here. And this has to do with Julia Thomas's parents and where she grew up in Louisiana, right? It was in Louisiana, wasn't it? And just various things that people were doing. Thomas Glover and other people were researching, and I had a bit of interest in that obviously always have, but I was doing that. I never really delved looking at Julia Thomas's history as much as I did the Petrashes, but but he had a good amount of files. Gary Cundiff did, and Larry Hanna, they both did a lot of stuff, and I got a lot of their stuff in files. And I'm kind of going through it now, trying to put stuff to see if there's any documents that have been put out in public since that time, because it's been probably 5 or 10 years since I really did a deep dive and started pulling stuff up. Needs for the next moonshine. I'll start out higher quality. Okay, so now we're different percentages written on them. So 16, Dad got pissed. That was... Okay, I'm drinking IPA, non-alcoholic Samuel Adams. Good for you. There you go. I liked Lowenbrau, and I quit drinking beer regularly when Lowenbrau quit getting shipped to the United States and was no longer being brewed in the United States, because I think it was brewed in Dallas, Texas. And when they stopped, it's brewed in Canada still, but not imported into the U.S. And when Trevor went to Germany, I told him to bring me back some Lowenbrau, and he didn't. But that used to be my beer of choice, was Lowenbrau beer. And my wife got me some stuff that was supposed to be like Lowenbrau, but it didn't taste like it. Maybe my taste buds have changed. But that was my beer of choice. And Lowenbrau quit being a thing probably, 25, 30 years ago? Been something like that, because I remember the last place that I had out here by us was an Italian restaurant, had Lowenbrau, and then they switched to Beck's. and it wasn't at all the same. And then I quit ordering a beer because I used to order a Coke and a beer with dinner, and that was the end of that. So needs for the next moonshine to start higher quality. We're still there. Anyways, so we've had a good run today, but we didn't get into much Dutchman stuff. There wasn't a lot to talk of. It's kind of the whole brand new year, and we're setting it up. But hey, pick up a copy of Sunsets on Amazon and Jason's book, Jason Fritsch. And who else had that book? There was Glenn Rogers had his book, 10 Reasons It's Not in the Superstitions. That didn't go as well. Is there any information on what happened after Thomas left Julia? Yeah, that's most of the information we have. After Emil Thomas, there's a lot of stuff about he left, she divorced him. I think it was abandonment, she claimed, and she ended up with everything. But he took the money out of the bank accounts and stuff. And then there's a bit of history on him because he did come back to Phoenix and stuff. But he was up in Washington. I think he was up in Washington State. And then he got into groceries or restaurants business there. So there's, but it's so, he had nothing to do with, if he would have known Waltz, because he was German and an immigrant too, it doesn't, I don't think he was anything connected with the Waltz, because by the time Waltz and Julia and Reinhardt and that all became a thing, he was long gone. What kind of evidence do you need, Wayne, to prove I'm setting on the heart sombrero? Well, first, I don't know why there's a heart in sombrero. That would be the problem. I've been, because you're in stone map territory, and Travis Tomlinson. I saw a bunch of Travis Tomlinson documents today, his death certificates and a bunch of other stuff, and his what do you call that thing after someone dies? It's not the will and testament, but it's when they run through everything, the estate and stuff for his wife. It's not Eileen. Is it Eileen or Ellen or Helene? Something like that. Anyways, I was looking at some of that stuff just in passing today, so that's kind of connect there. I've been watching Ice Cold Gold. Do you know Gator's shoes? I've met Gator. I know Gator, which is one son, and then there's Jacob, the other son. There's a daughter, and I can't. Tara, that's the daughter. But I know, I've met them. I met the grandkids when we come out and hang out with Grandpa and stuff. But yeah, he's Josh's age, kind of think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Josh Feldman's age, so he's in his 40s. But he has his own business, and yeah, he's not around Goldfield and stuff. I think that's a family thing in there. So I've never seen him out at the house. So your Julia vid and the German was good. Thank you very much. Who had all the claims at Bias Butte? So I have Bias. It's Byous. Is there two S's? I think it's only one S. Anyways, Butte was Petrash or Art Mullins. Well, there was Hart and Jesse Mullins, and I can't remember their father's name, and I would have just had it if we hadn't gone there. It was Hart and Jess Mullen. They were out there. I don't think Petrash had that claim. I've never seen him on that claim. He had claims with Reinhardt and other people, but no, not with the Mullen brothers. I'm trying to remember the father's name. He died, and then it was Hart and Jess. And I just saw that today because it was the death certificate for their father, and it caught my eye because it said Mullen, and I was like, huh? And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, that was their dad. Was it Lewis? No, it wasn't Lewis. There's so much stuff, Sometimes you need to take a nap and relax to let it all filter through. Wayne, we should do a Superstition Mountains hosted show, and I could host it, produce it, and we could do different random stories of characters. Crazy Jay. We do that already. Even do reenactments. Well, we don't do reenactments. That crazy guy you worked with, you guys had him taking him out lunch, driving him around the mountains and going to different places. There's a lot of those kind of guys, and there was a few of those people I dealt with. I like Gentleman Jack. Yeah, I like Gentleman Jack. I have a bottle of Gentleman Jack. I like the Chivas too, but I have a bottle of Gentleman Jack. I like Smooth, but it's just a finger or two, and I just sit there and sip it and watch TV, which is not regularly because has nothing to do with my liver. It has to do with my taste and just sitting there, and I sleep well enough. I don't need anything like that to sleep. But I can't do anything excessively because of the job. I know Wayne doesn't stay up and drink all night long, especially with his job during the summertime. And so, they drug and alcohol test you, and you don't want to lose your job if there's anything in your system. I like my job. No, I just forgive my spelling, but it's all right. You're forgiven. Yeah, bias. I think it's pretty sure it's Byous. I could be wrong, but that's just sticking in my head. Have Frank say bias butte 3 times really fast, because I think butte's one of those words he can't say. I don't know. He gets tongue twisted easily with the library. I keep working on him to say library, and it doesn't work. But when I was younger, I could, but I can't now. And so I just smoke cigarettes, drink coffee, and Dr. Pepper. That's what this is. You see this drink, but that's all it is. Oops, I almost dumped that. It's just straight up Dr. Pepper, because I haven't had dinner yet. So once I have dinner, and then I'll all settle, and I have a shower, and I'm all cozy and fine, then I decide. But yes, Gentleman Jack is good. It's smooth. Trevor is a Jack Daniels guy. Forgive my spellings. I'm curious. Along the 172, heading past Bias Butte, is a stone structure along the side of the road, kind of next to the wash. Is that the stone structure? It looks like a ore chute that's on the west side of the road going up Hewitt. There's a stone structure, and it's there's a big wash, and you can go up the hill, and there's a big stone chute there. It's like a stone. You can just see it right off to your left going north, and it would be on your right, on the passenger side, leaving. And that was an ore chute. So you can go over there. There's supposed to be some remnants of the ore there and down in the wash. I can't remember who's that. Well, it might have been Fraser's. Yeah, kind of like, I think that was one of Fraser's chutes or whatever. I'd have to look it up, but it's an ore chute from way back when. There's a lot of mines back in there in those canyons. There's tons of them. I know I don't get out. I've never been out of the state. I've never been out of my house, but there are a lot of mines back in those canyons. I have pictures of them. It's kind of, they're all pretty unstable now. They weren't that stable when I was younger, but I didn't care as much when I was younger, right? Now that I care more and kind of want to last longer, now I don't do those things. I have Frank a couple times is like, "You're crazy. Why would you go in there? Why would you do that?" Well, we got to film the inside, But it was, when we filmed Legends, there was the one crawl hole DeLille wouldn't go in out in Hewitt, and so I had to go in and film it and take pictures inside and come out and make him feel and kill the spiders for him to go in it. Then he went in, but I had to climb all the way in and turn around and come out and prove to him that it was safe. I did a video on it. It's a cool little place. There's a tunnel underneath. It's probably, I think there's something there. There was also, someone was just telling me about that. That north of there, if you're out there again, it was north and up higher, there's some ore or something, or supposed to be some digging still, or something you just can't see from the road. Frank knows, but somebody else was talking to me about it. And I'm trying to think of who was talking to me about it. My stepdad makes... we're back to moonshine from Einhauser Busch. He's a master electrician and an electrical engineer. I'm not an electrical engineer, and I'm not a master electrician. That somehow computes into moonshining. Well, there you go. Has there ever been DeGrazia paintings found? Nope, nobody's ever come up with them. There's several people that said they did, and then they never provided any evidence that they did. They just kind of asked. I think they were scams, because I think they were kind of going, well, how much would you want for them, or what would have happened to me if I had them, and then they just vanished. I know Lazy Mule Claim is in that area. There's so many mines in Hewitt and Wetlock and all the different canyons in there. If you get in there and you start climbing around, they're just everywhere. You just don't see them from the road. You got to be up there and get up on the hills and walk around. I'm guessing you wouldn't say no to a bottle of Royal. I don't know. I'm picky. I try something, and then occasionally I find something I like, and I just want a little of it if it's smooth and whatnot. Yeah, I'm trying to think. This last rendezvous, I never had a drink. The one before, I don't know if I did. Trevor brings Coors Light. There's always alcohol. People bring bottles of booze. But usually I'm so busy at the rendezvous, I don't have time because I'm trying to keep track of everything and make sure everything goes well. So no foggy at that. I'm old enough that I'm no Fireball. I haven't had Fireball in years. Used to take this the first swigs, the first time around I'd take a swig and that was usually it. Just, the salute. And I would have had some this year because we brought a bottle of Clay Worth's wine and we were going to do a toast to Clay, and I never popped the bottle. So maybe next year we'll pop that. But that was wine that Clay had bought and we got from him. Croy does it age with? I don't know. Greg brought maybe somebody remember. Greg brought the bottle of something, and Greg brought a bottle of Chivas. I don't know. I just buy this shit. I have the glasses too. There's a set of glasses with it whenever I buy it. It's pretty good. Greg Davis brought a bottle of something, and we opened it, and that stuff tasted like dirt. It was horrible. Everybody was grossed out by it, and we poured it out. It was old. So I don't know how some things age well. I don't know anything about brewing and manufacturing, that kind of stuff. I was a kid. My dad told me how to make hard cider, and we buried it in the yard and let it ferment, and that's about all I know about that. Never had the idea of making beer in my garage or nothing like that. All right, so we're winding down. It was such a lack of Dutchman stuff. And I spent today out doing Dutchman research, even though it didn't pan out and stuff. There is something Dallas asked me, and Dallas was here. Oh, it was that guy about the rattlesnakes. And I haven't looked it up, Dallas. Forgive me, because I'm pretty sure the guy you were inquiring about was the guy that used to do... I'm pretty sure I have pictures of him at the Trek with Don's. So, but I've seen pictures of him before and stuff. Wet my throat with that. My voice would not hoarse if I drank whiskey, though. Might be fine. Now, I was drinking during, well, he used to do the thing with the balloons and stuff during Trek. I'm the Richardsons. Yeah, I think his name's Gladson Richardson. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Gladson Richardson. I'm pretty sure that was his name, but I have it in the Don's archives. But where was I on that stuff? That was the weird. I don't know where else I was now. Yes. Anyway, there was the one time I did a radio show. So in the last 10 years, I wasn't drunk, but yeah, someone was doing a radio show, and they kind of got on my wrong side because I won't say who it was, but he was talking. It wasn't Jack Tucker, so Jack's safe. But he started. Jack, I got to do the show on my own because the power went out at his house. But this person was talking to me, and they basically made it all about them. And it was like an hour that I got like 2 minutes in. And I was so done with it. And I had been just, after a while, I'm just, topping off the glass and drinking another finger. And I just got enough in me to get the demons going. And then I took over his radio show. And I just went all hard on it. It's out there somewhere, but I'm not going to say what it is. I was funny, though. I wasn't mean-spirited. I just decided to be funny because his show was a joke. We're supposed to be talking about treasure hunting and something, and it became all about him. And I'm like, you're the host of the show. What the hell is this? Yeah. Julie Jacob Reinhardt all spoke German. No wonder nobody remembers anything about the mine. Well, they all did speak German, yes. And so did Herman and Godfrey, but that was, they spoke the same dialect too, because the person that looked like Julia, who Julia considered her father, or she grew up on the plantation, Kaln, he was from an area just outside of Württemberg, and he spoke Swabian, which is what Jacob Waltz spoke. So she was very fluent, not only in German, she was very fluent, had command of the Swabian dialect, which is probably in Reinhardt's family was similar. So that's one of the other things. Is it's one thing to say, I'm from, I don't know how to pick it, but you're from somewhere, but there's different dialects and different things in different places. And England's one of those places where there's people don't know what other people are talking about from the same country because their accents and dialects are so. So the main thing with all that is that they all spoke roughly the same dialect, and that was probably what made the friendship really develop. Is Waltz finally found someone that he really could just made him feel like at home, very comfortable in his old age. And she referred to him as grandpa and all this, and I'm sure that's what it was. And so think you can get Sal to take you to Barry Storm Cave this year. I'm going to try. It's just now he's working again, and it's always out there. It's just, whenever I say let's do it, he just is not ready or can't. Or then he says, well, no, we're going to do it. You tell me where, and I'll be there. And then I say, well, we're going to go do this. I know where one cave is. It's not the Barry Storm Cave, and I'm probably just going to take Trevor, get two or three people to go out and just go chase it down. I know basically where it's at. Sal's directions would take me way out of the way, but I know where it's basically at, so I'm thinking about going chasing that down this year. So I've been putting a lot of miles on my legs, so I figure just take a nice day and get up to it. It's going to be some hoofing. But do that. I got like 3-4 different. I'll let you know, Dallas. There's 3 or 4 trips that if you can make it, you'd probably love to go on. I know I'm supposed to do one with Bowser and Greg Davis, and trying to get Frank to go out too. I'd like to get Frank out a few more times before he can't do it no more. But we'll see. Fish Creek. I'd like to spend some time in Fish Creek because we went out a couple times and spent a little time, but we've never went out. We spent so much time down in there, and Frank and myself, and covering so many places. And I want to, Trevor's seen it all, so that's one thing too. That kind of changes the thought process because Trevor knows the spots, so I don't have to sit there and worry about, is someone going to remember where some of this stuff was found or where it's at. Trevor will know, but yeah, it'd be nice to revisit it because I had a lot of good times down at Fish Creek. And, and that was a shared area where I spent a lot of time with Frank. So that would be kind of cool. So thank you for all the compliments again. No Bigfoot. I'm still almost sorry I did that now. I am ashamed of myself. But everybody, please check out the videos. Monday will be another Chasing Legends. As you saw, we had a new intro. We don't have the outro yet. He's supposed to do an outro, so we can do an outro to this. But we do have now the blank screen. We have the thumbnail that saves up, so you can actually sit here in the chat and chat a little before we go live. And I don't know how early that starts. And then it jumps into the countdown, into the intro, into this. So we're getting there. We're getting more and more professional. Soon we will be running commercials. But the commercials won't be what you expected. I told Trevor I want totally fictitious, funny commercials about just dumb stuff. And I said I'd like to have a couple of those, word from our spot. That would be fun. But that's the whole idea, is to have fun and enjoy this time and the time we have. So there you go. As you notice, I have 2 keyboards now. There's a keyboard on my left, keyboard on my right. Knee brace. These are cheap and flexible, but my left knee, which has given me problems for years, this thing is awesome. I don't even know what brand it is anymore. It says on it. Modvel. Anyways, this thing is a wonder. It's very, very flexible, very light and breeze nice, but it's done very, very well for me. So there you go. You know the spot where Sal saw demons, Blackfire? Yes, I know where that spot is. And Sal's supposed to go out there with me, but I told him let's go out and camp there one night. Again, he hasn't gone out there with me. I've been there. I just want to go out with Sal and spend time there. I want him to tell me the story in this spot. Who was it from the History Channel show that was touching that place of metal cable? That was probably DeLille. It was like, what are you doing? There's a cable hanging down. It could be tied to a rock. It doesn't have to be booby trapped. It's just, you don't know on it. Why would you get on it and try to swing on it? And I think that was DeLille. I'm pretty sure it was DeLille, because I think Magnuson was even like horrified. Like, why would you do that, dude? Okay, there. First episode of the year down. We did a little extra. Up. Now we're from our sponsor, Bigfoot. That would be the first commercial. Yeah, Bigfoot Brew. Good night. Good night, everybody. Sasquatch Moonshine. There's a sponsor for you. Bobby, you brew it, we'll promote it. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm pretty sure that when I hit stop streaming, it's going to stop streaming. Trevor has a new setup, a new way into this. It's all set up different now, so hopefully you don't see me just wandering around here and just talking to myself and going, Trevor, but hopefully it does end. The outro would be nice. I'm getting it bit by bit. But anyways, everybody, Happy New Year. Have a great time. I don't know if we're having pizza, but I know I have a grocery pickup tonight. We will catch you Monday, and then we will catch you next Friday, because I still will be on Fridays, and we still will be hitting it. Hey, Bobby, it was good to see you, though. Good to see Dallas and Sir Duck and everybody. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm out of here. Adios, Sonora and Senora, and all the other good things. Have a good night.